And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sheffield versus Clark, step forward.
22-year-old Kai Sheffield is suing her former friend, 23-year-old Demias Clark, for assaulting her and vandalizing her car.
Ms. Sheffield, the defendant was your best friend's boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that the defendant, on a date in late August, do you have the date?
Yes, ma'am. It's the 31st of August.
On the 31st of August, you were visiting your best friend.
Yes, ma'am.
At her house.
Yes, ma'am.
There was an argument between the defendant and his then girlfriend. Who's the girlfriend? Are you back together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Stand up. Tell me your last name.
Terrell.
Ms. Terrell, on August 31st, what were you fighting with him about?
He saw a text in my phone from Kai.
That he didn't like?
No, he didn't like. They were really flirtatious.
Okay. And so the two of you were arguing?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, Kai got involved. That's you, Ms. Sheffield.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Kai got involved in the argument between you and your boyfriend. Did you tell your boyfriend to leave your house?
Mm-mm.
Don't
no.
say. Don't.
Oh, no, ma'am.
What did you tell him?
Well, I kind of told him to leave, but he didn't have to. Oh, sorry.
Either you told him to leave or you didn't tell him to leave.
I told him he had to move out.
He had to move out?
Yeah.
Okay, so you told him he had to leave. And what happened when you told him he had to leave?
We kind of started arguing.
Were you arguing physically or just verbally?
Verbally.
Anybody else there?
I was.
Anybody else?
My son.
How old is he?
He's 4.
And who is his father? That would be you.
Yeah.
Now, at some point, Miss Sheffield says that she got into her car to leave and that Mr. Clark threw something at her car that caused damage to the car. Were you outside when that happened?
Mm-mm. No, ma'am.
You were inside?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Mr. Clark go outside after she left? After she walked out the door,
yes,
did he follow her out the door? The answer is yes.
Okay. Your Honor.
No, I'm not asking you anything at all yet.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you have a discussion with him about what happened with Miss Sheffield's car?
Somewhat.
Not somewhat. Either you have a discussion.
Yes, ma'am, we had a discussion.
Uncross your arms.
Former friend, Demias Clark, assaulted her and threw a 2x4 at her car.
Now, had they been yelling at each other?
Yes.
What was he yelling at her?
He was asking her to leave.
But yelling. Did you see what happened outside to Miss Sheffield's car?
No, ma'am.
Did you see Mr. Clark come back into the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell him to leave again?
No, ma'am.
Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes, ma'am. He kind of decided that he had wanted to leave anyways, so we're trying to work it out.
So he did leave?
Yeah.
On the 31st?
He left the house, but he was still living there, like his possessions and still things were there. Then he showed up at a later date in order to collect his things.
Has he been back to the house?
After August, he came in September to pick up some of his things, and then I haven't really seen him since, we came here.
Did you have a discussion with him about what happened with Miss Sheffield's car?
Somewhat.
Not somewhat. Either you have a discussion.
Yes, ma'am, we had a discussion.
And I want you to tell me what you said to him and what he said to you. Try not to filter it. Try just to tell me exactly what you said to him and what he said to you about Miss Sheffield's car.
Well, I really didn't know that, he had did it in particular. So,
What did you say to him and what did he say to you?
He was more talking about the inappropriateness of the text more than, her car.
Well, I want to hear just what he had to say about her car.
I have a text from her, Your Honor.
Can I see it? What did he do to your car? He got into the car and?
And he threw a 2x4 piece of wood, and it hit my hood and bounced and caused some dents and scratches, which I have pictures of.
I'd like to see the car.
And I also have a picture of the car before, when I first bought it.
Mm-hmm. Looks like a nice new shiny car.
Yes, ma'am. It was a graduation present.
And do you have an estimate to fix it?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Uncross your arms.
Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Yes, ma'am, I did.
You have a paid bill?
Yes, sir. I decided to fix it a couple of weeks ago so that I didn't have to ride around with a damaged vehicle.
So insurance paid for part of it?
Yes, ma'am. I had to borrow the money from my mother to pay the deductible.
So the deductible was $500 is what?
Yes, ma'am, that we had to pay out of our pockets.
Now you can look at me. You have anything to say?
I wanted to tell my side of the story. And
I'm waiting.
I mean, it started from the appropriate text. Yes, me and her had an argument.
I don't care. I want to get to the car. Now she's
That's the
outside.
whole car deal. She was in the house the whole time.
Right.
Now, I asked her to leave before she even asked me to leave. Because she asked me to leave after
Now
I
you're
flipped out on
outside.
her. I'm
Now
outside.
you're outside and
She's screaming and hollering, cursing me out and whatnot. And she picks up things and started throwing at me. You know, going crazy, just nuts on me.
That's
And
completely false, Your Honor.
she threw something up or threw it, whatever, and it hit her top of her car. She's flipping at me. Oh, now look what you made me do. You know, she said that I
for the
caused this
plaintiff
and
in the
that.
amount of $500. That covers your deductible. We're done.
Okay.
Ma'am, what about the punitive I
We're
have?
We're done.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
Please, justice was served.
I really wish it would have went a different way, but once the gavel hits, you know, you got to go with the punches, man.
You just gotta be careful about the company you keep.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Worley versus Johnston, step forward.
Jason Worley is suing his former employer, William Johnston, for unpaid wages and storage fees.
Mr. Worley, I'd like you to tell me how you met Mr. Johnston.
I met Mr. Johnston
Don't look,
because
listen to me. Don't look down there.
Sorry, ma'am.
Look over here.
Okay.
I'm going to start all over again.
Okay.
Mr. Worley, I want you to tell me how you met Mr. Johnson.
I called him back sometime in March of this year to get a screen printing machine moved.
That's what he says. A screen printing machine, which was a big machine.
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you want it moved from and to?
From my home to my storage unit.
And you called him why?
Because I had heard he was the cheapest in town.
So when you called him, did you discuss the price?
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. Sorry.
And what was the price to move?
$75.
And you agreed to that?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you came to take this printing unit to storage, did you pay him?
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$75.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Did he pay you?
He paid me some.
How much did he pay you?
He paid me $35.
In all honesty, the cash was $35, and then he requested a bag of marijuana as the rest of the payment. So...
Just a second. Mr. Worley, you see, I have a nose for what's going on.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out who you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Because what happened is Mr. Johnston came, you had agreed on a price, he moved the unit,
Yes.
then asked you for payment. It's kind of ridiculous for me to believe that Mr. Johnston said, you know what, I'll just take $35 in cash, and on the outside chance that maybe you can hook me up with some marijuana, if you can, I'll take the rest off. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I hear you, yes.
All right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You never had a contract with him for money, for an hourly wage for working on the car. So you're not getting any money, zippo, nada,
May I say
no
something?
money. You can say whatever you want to the back of my hand.
His former boss, William Johnston, owes for wages and storage fees for an Audi.
Okay, so when he came and he moved it, you didn't pay him all the money. You only had $35 of the $75. Now, you want to tell me why?
We had discussed the marijuana thing. It was at his request, not mine.
Now,
He
how would
walked
that
in-
come up? How would that come up?
I'm going to tell you. He walked into
I
my...
want you to tell me.
He walked into my house. He wanted something to drink. I believe I got him a cup of coffee. We then started to BS back and forth. My house smelled like pot because I was growing it. He said, you know, I'd be willing to work a trade. I probably have a text somewhere in my phone that would verify that he had gotten it from me before.
Is that what happened?
No.
You want to tell me what happened?
I did smell the marijuana, and he didn't pay me until I finished the job. And then he said to me that if I would be willing to trade for the rest of it, that he had some marijuana that he would be willing to get rid of.
And you said okay?
I refused.
You refused?
Yes.
So far, Slick, you're not doing well. All you had to do was play it straight. Move my printing machine, and here's $75, as I agreed.
I had enough
Now,
cash.
the next thing is, now you have a buddy. So after he moved this printing machine, because, Mr. Johnson, I'm not so sure that what you said to me is true, because now he was Slick. You said, no, I don't want it, so right now he owes you $40. Because Mr. Worley said that he bartered a car, bought/bartered. And this is what he says. He says he told you, because you own this parking lot or garage or whatever where you can sometimes get cars, that he was looking for a particular kind of car. And you just happened to come up with that particular kind of car, a 2004 Audi?
2000 Audi, ma'am.
2000 Audi. So after this thing where he stiffed you, you were prepared to let him work on a car for you in exchange for this 2000 Audi. See, Mr. Johnson, that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
But that's what you say in your answer. It doesn't make sense to me that a grown-up man who's gotten stiffed in his business from this kid because he paid you $35, and now you're talking about bigger money. Now you get into a conversation with him. He fixes cars. He knows about cars. You know what? The whole thing smells to me. So now he's got this Audi that you want, but he's got another car, and he says to you, you know, if you work on this car and get it into tip-top shape, I'll give you the Audi. That's what you say happened.
Yes.
And you worked on the car.
Yes.
And got it in shape, and then he would not give you the title to the Audi.
No, ma'am. Instead, he gave me a forged...
Just a second.
Oh.
He wouldn't give you the title to
No.
the Audi.
No, ma'am.
Now you don't want the Audi.
No.
You want the money for working on his other car.
Yes, ma'am.
Your case is dismissed. We're done. That wasn't your contract.
Judge Judy continues.
Satisfied. If I'm satisfied that you actually did the work, that's fine. But you never had a contract with him for money, for an hourly wage for working on the car. So you're not getting any money. Zippo. Nada.
May I say
no
something?
money. You can say whatever you want to the back of my hand, but you are not getting any money. If you want the car, I'll direct him to sign a title over to the car if he has it, if I'm satisfied that you got the other car that you were supposed to work on up to speed.
He still hasn't put the Audi into his name, nor is he allowed to sell cars. When I first met him, and I started to work for him...
I don't care.
Oh.
Do you understand? I don't care. Your contract was not work for hire.
That was my
Your
contract.
No.
I had worked for him before this incident.
Oh, please, I don't believe either one of you. We're done.
You do work and then not paying for it and giving me a forged receipt instead.
He didn't finish repairing the car. He forged himself a document.
I took it to the DMV. It's fake.
He says a lot of things that aren't true.
Don't do work with good guys towing.
Close this chapter.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Miller versus Martinez. Step forward.
Wesley Miller is suing contractor Jose Martinez for the return of money he paid him to install a pizza oven.
Mr. Miller, you contracted with the defendant to build a pizza oven, an outdoor pizza oven, and do some other work at your house. You gave him a deposit, but very specifically in your contract, something which Mr. Martinez actually acknowledges, one of the conditions of the job is that it be done within a week. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And what was that week that it was supposed to be done?
The week of the last week in August, starting on the 29th.
So it was supposed to be finished on or about September 6th.
No, ma'am, September 2nd.
September 2nd.
Yes, the Thursday of that week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Well, that's not a week.
Okay, sorry.
That's not a week. And that's what you said in your complaint. You said, I expressed the urgency to him about completing the project within a week.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the job was not done within that time.
Correct.
And you want your money back.
Yes, ma'am. I had to hire somebody else to do it and complete it.
Okay. Now, Mr. Martinez, I read your answer. Your answer says that it did rain during certain...
4 out of the 7 days.
But then you said you were admitted to the hospital.
Yes.
Just a second. On what date were you admitted to the hospital?
On the 31st, Your
Well,
Honor.
so what difference does it make if it rained?
Well,
if you were
4 out
admitted
of
to
those 7 days.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
From the 29th to the 4th or 5th of September. You were admitted to the hospital on August 31st, so it wouldn't make any difference if it was raining or shining or sleeting or snowing. If you're in the hospital, you can't do the job.
Correct. I was in that one day.
So this emergency that you have that put you in the hospital for one day.
Hypoglycemia.
You came back to work the next day?
It rained 4 out of the 4.
Did you come back to work the next day?
No, Your Honor.
Did you come back to work the day after that?
No, Your Honor.
Did you come back to work the day after that?
No, Your Honor.
Did you come back to work the day after that?
No, Your Honor.
Did you come back to work the day after that?
I called him.
Did you come back to work?
No, Your Honor.
You have to give him his money back.
Your Honor, he lied in court and...
he lied in court
yes,
when?
Your Honor. And he kept his
Which
money.
court?
Your Honor, he kept his money. And he ended up a week later calling me and that he was going to take me to court. But he lied to you, and he kept his money. There's a stop payment on the check.
Just a minute. So...
he kept his money.
Just a second. So is what you're telling me, Mr. Martinez, that he gave you money by check, but then put a stop payment on the check?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you actually received no money from him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you receive... No.
I did not receive...
Did you receive any money from him?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Okay. That's very easy. May I see that, please?
And where the actual...
On the 29th of August, sir, you gave him a check for $1,000. Check number 1612.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you put a stop payment on that check?
I did on Thursday, and Chase informed me it was too late. It had already been cashed at a local express. I could not get my money back.
So your account was, in fact,
debited
for this amount.
Yes,
well,
ma'am.
somebody's got the money, Mr. Martinez.
PLS.
Somebody's got the money, Mr. Martinez.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have from PLS that I owe them $1,000. This is where I cashed another check where I did work, and they took my money.
On what date?
On the 16th of November.
16th of November?
Contractor Jose Martinez never installed the pizza oven he was paid for.
Your Honor, I don't have that money, Your Honor. PS form, I went to cash another check, and they told me that I owe them $1,000.
Don't tell me.
I do not have his money.
Well,
Chase Bank has his money, and that stop payment there, right there, shows it. And these people, PLS, this is something else from PLS, says that they never received the money from Chase Bank. So PLS never received his money from Chase Bank.
I would suggest that you take that up with the bank.
I've checked with the bank before I left, and it's not stop payment. It's not there.
PLS says...
Listen to me. Mr. Martinez is not lying to me about the fact that he may have tried to cash this check, but they wouldn't give him the money. Put it down.
He cashed a check on Monday, and because I waited till Thursday to stop payment, Chase said the money is already gone through, and they could not reverse the payment. It has not been credited back to my account.
Do you have that from Chase?
I have where I've tried to do the stop payment. I don't have any confirmation that $1,000 is back in there.
Well, this was in August.
That's correct.
Do you have your bank statement from August? Or you can get it very easily.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to take a look at it.
Sure.
Because if your bank statement shows that this money was in fact paid out, then you got the money.
I have from PLS that I owe them $1,000. PLS never got the money from Chase, and here's something from PLS. This is where I cashed another check where I did work, and they took my money.
On what date?
On the 19th, on the 16th of November, sorry.
16th of November?
This is where I did a payment where I worked, I got paid, and I went to cash the check from PLS.
Mr. Martinez, you have to return his money to him.
Ma'am, I do not have his money. PLS says they never got his money.
I'm trying to get to Chase's down right
Could
now.
you do that?
Chase never gave the money to PLS.
Yes, ma'am, I can try.
Your Honor.
Great.
Chase never gave the money to
Mr. Martinez, I didn't ask you anything.
Yes, Your Honor.
You want to recall us?
Yeah, I do.
This case will be recalled. Step out.
Just get me the statement showing $1,000 out of your account.
Judge
Check 1612. It's highlighted.
Towards the bottom, check 1612 for $1,000.
Well, you cashed the check right before you were feeling sick. Did you give him any other money, sir?
I charged some materials. He ended up charging some additional tools to that. I've since taken back what I could. The mortar was no good because it had been out in the rain. He also dumped everything out of his truck onto my property and have called people to haul it off.
What is that?
That's the trash that was inside of his truck.
When did he do that?
The Monday he brought the mortar out there and left it on the patio uncovered, and he emptied his truck off over in the corner of my property.
Okay. You have a counterclaim. For what?
PLS I owe money to. I don't owe money to Chase Bank. He may show you just one thing on his phone, but he didn't show you maybe if that money's already gone right back to his account. Like I said, I have this from PLS saying that I owe him the $1,000, not Chase Bank the $1,000, ma'am, Your Honor. As for all that junk he's talking about, I cleaned up everything. This is what it looks like before. This was the mess, the construction farce I walked into, and the reason all that stuff is there, because this is what it looks when I left, Your Honor. And then you can...
I'd like to take a look at those photographs, please.
So I worked there in the rain.
Just a second.
Your Honor.
On what days?
On Monday. And he changed
Just a second. So what you're telling me is you worked there one day.
On Monday.
In the rain.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what we're here for? The one day?
No, we're here for a completed product in 7 days. It couldn't be completed because of the rain in 4 out of those 7 days.
You owe $1,000. We're done. Thank you.
All right, Judge, excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And
I think she made the correct decision.
I'm disappointed, but that's fine.
I have a text from him saying that he was actually arrested, not in a hospital. He was actually arrested.
I don't want to talk about it.
Make sure you get some documentation. I think the documentation helped me here.
I don't understand about what's going on with the bank, but I never received that money from Chase.
Mr. Pierce?
Who was related to him through marriage? You're Mr. Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant is your son's father-in-law.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are you?
I'm Sheena Almanza Payne.
Where's your husband?
He's not here.
Okay. What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm disabled.
Tell me what you do with these charity events.
Well, my charity is called Lone Rider Charities. I'm the one that is the only one. About 6 years ago, I designed a coin. I came up with this ideal that I wanted to have a special way of thanking our veterans. So I just designed it and I started having it made, and I've now thanked over 7,000 veterans with it, along with police officers and firemen.
You sell these or trade them for money?
Absolutely not.
Well, what do you do with the coins?
When I see a veteran, I go up to them and I present myself. I let them know that I do this in memory of my father, and I have a special way to thank them, and then they usually...
Who pays for the coins?
Basically, most of the time I do with donations.
That's what I'm talking about. Look, this is about their lawsuit. One of them was supposed to sing. Who was the singer? That would be you, Mr. Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Pierce was his sound guy. You were doing a concert for charity. Their lawsuit is that you promised that you would pay them, a nominal amount, but that you would pay them. And after the concert, who saw him riding off on his motorcycle?
We didn't see him. When we came looking for him at the end of the event, he was gone already. So,
how did he get to the event?
On a motorcycle.
Who was riding the motorcycle?
I saw him actually ride the motorcycle into the parking lot.
And the nature of your disability is?
I ended up getting anxiety and depression.
How long have you been on disability?
I think maybe about 2 months now.
Prior to that, what did you do?
I'm in sheet metal, structural steel, like a manager, supervisor.
How old are you?
58.
So you planned this concert, and when was the concert supposed to take place?
September 24th.
How many concerts have you put together?
That was my first time I had attempted at trying to do a benefit concert.
Yes, that is correct.
And did you take a venue?
Yes, I found the venue.
What was the venue?
They're called the Depot. It's like a bar and restaurant.
Did you have to rent it?
No, the owner and me have a relationship. He's a veteran. He's one of the veterans I
Just answer my question. Did you have to rent it, or they donated it to you?
No.
Did you advertise the event?
Yes.
How?
We had flyers made, and...
Who had flyers made?
Me and Mr. Payne.
Who paid for it?
His girlfriend at the time did that out of her heart. She just made us our flyers.
How else do you advertise the event?
When I go around doing my veteran thing, I go to American Legions, VFWs, just everywhere. And as I did that, I handed out my flyers and let them know that I was having a benefit concert.
How much were the patrons charged to go to the concert?
There was a $20 charge for the event.
And then a cash bar.
Yes.
How many people did the restaurant bar hold?
Their total, I believe, was 350.
How many people showed up?
In the vicinity of right around 55 people.
What was your arrangement to pay the plaintiffs?
I was hoping a lot of people were going to show up, and I was going to pay them out of, the revenue from the gate as they came in.
Well, 55 people did show up.
Yes.
So there was some money.
Yes, out of the 55, around 35 of them paid. Around 20 to 25 got let in free.
By whom?
Actually, it would be me. Because
that was nice.
when
that
they
was
came,
nice of you.
Well, when they came
How
in...
are you supposed to pay the plaintiffs?
Well, actually, it was due to the plaintiff. When they came in, they said that, no, we're here to present Brent Payne with a guitar or something like that. And they said, no, we were told we didn't have to pay. We're here just to do this presentation to him. So they showed up, and I was actually taken off guard. And
how much was he supposed to pay you?
His charge was $1,500 for the band. My charge was $900 for staging, sound, and lighting.
Did you discuss that with the defendant?
Yes, in advance.
When?
He first contacted me on the 19th.
Of what?
19th of September, I'm sorry. 4 days or 5 days before the event, so it was very last minute. He contacted me. When he told me he was associated with Mr. Payne, I'd worked with Brent in the past, and I thought, okay, he's above board. So I gave him a great deal, and we.
Well, what was the great deal? No, I'm asking you.
I'm sorry?
You clearly weren't busy 4 days in advance. So what was the great deal? I thought from reading these papers that this was really, you were doing it partially for charity and partially for him. So what's your normal rate?
Yeah, for something like this event, for all the equipment would have been close to $3,000 for staging, sound, lighting. For an event like that.
Did you actually do all the staging, all the lighting, as if there were going to be 350 people?
Everything as scheduled.
And you, sir? Tell me about your discussion with the defendant about money.
The early part of 2016, he had come to me to ask if I would be interested in doing a benefit concert for the...
How many people in your band?
6.
So you were actually making a couple $100 a piece for the evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you set the figure of $1,500, or did he?
No, I did. He asked me what I would do it for, and I said 15.
And what did he say to you?
He said, really?
He said, really?
Yes.
And then what happened?
Then we started talking about, he asked me, well, what would it take? What would the next steps be? What do you need? And I said, well, we need a venue. And he told me about the Corona Depot. And I said, well, how many does it hold? And he said, between 200 and 300. And I said, that'd be a good intimate crowd if we could get that many people in there. And then I told him about stage lighting, sound reinforcement.
But he didn't do anything about that until 4 days before. Did you discuss that with him?
At that time?
No, later on, as you got closer. You said the beginning of 2016.
It was mentioned throughout the course of the few months.
Why did you wait until the end to get somebody to do this lighting and sound?
Your Honor, it wasn't mentioned early. It was mentioned a week before. When we had the flyers made, and I have one here, it shows that there's only 2 bands. I was doing this as best I could, and I had one band scheduled with Brent, and as he saw the flyer, and he was like, I always play in front of 2 bands. He goes, you have to get another band. So at the same time, he also said, hey, and how's the staging coming? How's the lighting? I'm like, I don't have any of that. I go, everything else is done, but you want an extra band? He goes, yes. He goes, I always play in front of 2 bands. So I started scrambling around to try to find another band in less than 5 days, and then I also had to scramble around and find a staging because the other bands didn't need lighting. They didn't need staging. It was a benefit concert. They were happy to play on the open ground that they had.
I don't know what they were happy to do, sir. You owe them so far $2,400.
Correct.
So why didn't you pay them?
Because I was depending on the benefit concert for the people showing up. I was using the proceeds to pay everybody.
Yeah, but that was not part of your discussion with them.
Yes, they knew that.
No, don't tell me what they knew. I didn't hear that was part of the discussion.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I am very new at what I was trying to accomplish.
I think that if you want to engage in charitable work while you're on disability, you should stick with something that you know, not something that you don't know.
I agree.
Good.
And later today,
Mr. Perez, if this is what it looked like when you finished, it's an awful job. I would actually be embarrassed for you to say that this was completed work.
And sound tech Paul Pierce claim Rob Almanza never paid them for a benefit performance.
Now, I heard that he told you what his fee was for the lighting 4 days before. He doesn't know you from a hole in the wall, and he gave you a fee of a quote of $900. And you had discussed previously with the co-plaintiff $1,500 for the 6 members of his band. And I didn't hear any caveat that said, but you don't get anything unless we have a certain number of people.
No, I did not. I mean, you know, I guess I am very new at what I was trying to accomplish. And they knew that, and I know they knew, because one of them, and as far as Paul on the stage, he asked for a check. I did give him a check, and I have a text in it where I'm stating to him, because I told him, I go, you know, you can't cash this. I can hand you a check, but the proceeds will come in as the concert, and then I'll go to the bank, put the money in the bank, and then you'll be able to cash that check. But it's only if the proceeds come in.
Did he say that to you?
Nope, that conversation didn't happen. What did happen was I said to him I needed to be paid in full before I loaded in, because I'm not going to go through the trouble.
Fine. And what did he say to you?
I said I'll accept a personal check on the day of the event, and if you have enough cash, you can give me cash and I'll give your check back.
I have the text right here.
I'd like to see it.
The text, by the way, came Monday after the event that he said your check is not good.
Just a second.
No, you can look at the date on it. It's right there.
I see what it says. It's perfectly clear. I hope you'll be okay with this. I can write you a check at noon, but the money for this function won't be in the bank until Monday. If you want, I can pay you in cash before you leave that night. Please let me know what you think on this matter. Paul, how about if you write me a check? No, that's not clear to me, sir. That's not clear to me. And I think that if you want to engage in charitable work while you're on disability, you should stick with something that you know, not something that you don't know.
I agree.
Good. Right now, you owe him $2,400. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I wish, you know, that someone that is actually part family would have worked with me on this instead of us being here in court.
You should have never.
Harris, it is your claim that the defendants owe you for babysitting services for their children. The defendants deny that they owe you any money and have a counterclaim because they say you somehow defamed them. What is your last name?
Grimstead.
Miss Grimstead, you have 2 children?
I actually have 4, but I have 2 that she watched.
How old are they?
3 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
Currently, I am a party light rep where I sell, like...
What kind of work were you doing when Miss Harris babysat for your children?
I was working at ProSource. It's like, it's for insurance claims.
Was it a temp job?
It was through a temp agency, but it was a temp to hire job.
And how many hours a day did you work?
8.
For how long?
At that point in time, it was about a month.
And how much were you paid an hour?
11.
Were you paid on time?
Yes.
And Mr. Farber, you're the boyfriend.
Yes.
Are you the father of these 2 children?
No.
Are you the father of any of Miss Grimstad's children?
No.
Do you live together?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I work at a car dealership.
How long have you worked there?
4 years.
Are you paid by the week or by the hour?
By the hour.
How much?
Recently, it's $12.25.
Are you paid weekly or bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly.
You get paid on time?
Yes.
And you're paid on time because you have certain bills that you have to pay, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, now that we've figured out that you 2 work, you work by the hour, you get paid every other week, you get paid every other week as well?
I get paid weekly.
Weekly, and none of your employers ever stiffed you. You get $11 an hour and you get $12.25 an hour. Now we're going to start with Miss Harris. Miss Harris, did you advertise to do babysitting?
I did, Your Honor.
Where did you advertise?
On Facebook.
And Miss Grimstad answered that ad?
Yes.
On what date?
It was roughly 2 weeks from, I started watching her kids January 22nd.
Did she come to your house with the children before you were hired?
No.
She brought them on January 22nd for the first time?
Correct.
Did you discuss with her prior to that what your fees were?
Yes, I did.
Was that on the phone?
It
or
was
on
through
email?
text message and Facebook conversations.
Okay. Do you have copies of those?
I do.
I'd like to see them, please.
Is that it?
Yes.
Thank you. What I was looking for was the agreement. You don't have any of the preliminary emails.
The emails that had that documentation on when Sheena had blocked me on Facebook during our conversations of when she owed me the money, those, once it is blocked, once the person has blocked you, you cannot retrieve those further emails.
I got it. So on this date, which is April 1st, she said to you, you had her 2 weeks and 3 days.
Correct.
That's $260.
Correct.
And then the defendant said, I paid $60, so I owe $200.
Correct.
You remember that?
Yes.
And then you said to her, I have bills that I have to pay.
Correct.
And she said to you, yeah, I'm talking to the county on Monday to pay the $200 because I don't have it. You say to her that this was an agreement between the two of you, not with the county. And she says, yeah, I don't have it, so I'll call Benton County Monday morning to pay it since I have daycare assistance. Okay. Well, clearly the two of you, after some point back and forth, got into a nasty screaming match.
Correct.
Now, there's an acknowledgement here from you that you owe her $200 for babysitting services, that you paid her $60, that you owed her $260. The only thing that I see here, Miss Grimstad, is that you say to her, I don't have it.
Yes.
So?
I get daycare assistance through the county to pay for my children to be in daycare while I go to work.
Nice.
When we first started talking, the beginning of March.
We're not talking about March. We're talking about January 22nd.
She did not take my children until February 8th. That was the first day that she took my daughter.
So let's say February 8th.
Or not February 8th, 28th, sorry.
Let's say February 28th. You already acknowledged that you owe her the $200. So she took your daughter on the 28th. And?
At that point, she had taken her for a few days, or a few hours that day, and I had given her the $20 when I picked her up.
I thought you worked 8 hours a day. What do you mean she was watching her a couple of hours?
At that point in time, I was not working.
So you were just using her as a babysitter?
That day, I wanted her to take my daughter just for a few hours so I could get some errands done. She only had her for like 4 hours that day.
Why couldn't you take her with you?
My child is a nightmare to go anywhere.
Is that the 5-year-old or the 3-year-old?
The 3-year-old.
Go ahead.
It was towards like the middle of March, we'd come to an agreement that she was going to take them on a weekly basis. We had agreed to $100 per week. She had started taking them on a Wednesday. I want to say it was
whatever it is, you acknowledge you owe her $200. I'm waiting for a defense.
I don't believe I owe her that just because
you acknowledge that you owed her the $200. You had her for 2 weeks and 3 days, that's $260, and you say I paid $60, so I owe $200. Now I'm waiting for your defense.
Because I had offered to have the county pay it through daycare assistance.
She didn't make a deal with the county. She made a deal with you.
I understand that, but she refused to get payment from anyone except for me.
Well, that was who her contract was with you.
Yes.
Wasn't her responsibility to go to the county. I'm waiting for a defense. I don't know what is he doing here?
Dan was the one that had dropped them off on several occasions and had picked them up on several occasions.
So he has nothing to do with this. You could sit down. I got whatever I needed out of you. He's not a father. He's not in anything. He's not a stepfather. He was the chauffeur back and forth a couple of times. He's not a party unless he promised to pay you money. Did he?
He had admitted on a conversation through a phone call that we had admitted that he admitted that, yes, you did not have to do this for Sheena to watch her kids, but you did it out of the kindness of your heart to do it.
Oh, that's what he said?
Yep, and he had admitted that he knew that Sheena had me over. Okay. I have other documentation. I'm
sort of getting that impression myself, if that was true. Do you remember saying that to her?
Not entirely like that.
Not entirely, but close.
I know that she had bills that came up and...
Stand.
Oh, sorry. Sheena had bills that came up that she was not expecting, and that's where a lot of the extra money went, where she would have had the money to pay Crystal.
Well, that doesn't mean she doesn't owe it. That just means she prioritized her bills.
Well, the big thing, and I'm not saying that nothing's owed, there was a lot of threats, and...
No, the threats didn't come until after she didn't get paid.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for a defense.
I just don't believe that I owe it to her after what she did to me on Facebook.
Did she say anything about you on Facebook before you said, I'm not paying you?
No, she had threatened to put me on blast.
Yeah, she says it right here. She says it right here. I'm going to tell everybody that you are a fraud, that you're a cheat, that you don't pay your bills, that you take advantage of people, that you conned me. I mean, I could think of a whole bunch of things that she could write that would all be true.
I had offered to pay her.
No, you didn't. You had offered to have the county.
On the phone.
Did you pay her?
No, because I had gotten threatening phone call from her boyfriend or whoever he is telling me that he knows how to get rid of bodies.
Well, that's a very bad thing. You should report him to the police.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have a voicemail from her stating that she shouldn't be watching kids as well.
She did watch your kids.
And that she didn't want to get paid by the county because she'd lose her benefits.
Does that mean you don't owe her the money? I'm just asking you. Does that mean you don't owe her the money?
And later today,
show me another withdrawal for $1,500. There's one withdrawal there for $1,500.
Ma'am, I'm just here because he owes me that money.
I don't believe anything
I have
you tell
receipts,
me.
though, of everything.
I don't believe anything you tell me.
Says former client Sheena Grimstead and boyfriend Daniel Faber owe for babysitting fees. The defendants are countersuing for defamation of character and harassment.
Okay, so you owe her $200. Now, you say money owed for defamation of character and harassment. I would like to see specifically what you are alleging is defamatory language.
She was saying...
Show me. I want you to show me what you are alleging is defamatory language.
Threats to take my children away.
That's not defamatory language.
Basically telling me
not
that
basically.
I'm a
I don't
scam.
want to... Listen to me. I don't want you to tell me basically. I want you to tell me what she wrote. Show me what she wrote. She can't take your children away. She can report you to the state if she thinks that you're a bad mother. She could do that.
Report me to CPS until after all of this went down, because
So what?
when she was watching my daughter had come to her with allegations of sexually abusing her. She did nothing about it until after this.
So?
She did it out of spite.
Could be. Ms. Harris, did you report alleged sex abuse by one of the children? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Was there an investigation? Do you know?
I do not know if Benton County went out and investigated.
But you made a written report?
I made a verbal report.
Okay. And was there an investigation?
There is an investigation
There is
going on.
ongoing?
Not against me, against my ex-boyfriend.
Of which child, the 3-year-old or the 5-year-old?
5-year-old, I'm sorry.
How long have you been a boyfriend?
4 years.
This is Benton County?
Sheena resides in Benton County. I reside in Sherburne County.
That's okay. Just want to know which county is conducting the investigation.
I also have a voicemail from her stating that she shouldn't be watching kids as well.
So what? She did watch your kids.
And that she didn't want to get paid by the county because she'd lose her benefits from the county.
So what? Does that mean you don't owe her the money? I'm just asking you. Does that mean you don't owe her the money?
No.
Good. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused and may step out.
I am satisfied with the result.
She has nothing better to do with her life.
There was no rumors or allegations being spread.
There's been multiple people coming at me with threats and stuff because of her.
The county was never paying me.
I called Sherburne County and had them do a fraud investigation on her.
I've never had an issue with her daughter. Not one single bit.
She told me the very last day that she wanted nothing to do with my daughter because my daughter was telling her what to do, and she was horrible.
It'll be a signed contract from here on out.
Never again. My child is definitely going to a daycare center.
Be seated.
Ms. Johnson, it is your claim that Mr. Smith, who is now, according to you, your ex-boyfriend, borrowed your car and totaled it. This was after an argument. You want him to be responsible for $5,000. When did the accident take place?
It took place January the 17th.
I'd like to see the accident report. Okay, Mr. Smith, tell me what happened.
On that day, she was at the grocery store. She came home from the grocery store mad and angry and was trying to pick fights and arguments.
No.
And
I don't want to hear you.
And with that, she started arguing and telling me about this. She found out that my wife was pregnant and she was having twins. And so she started packing all of my stuff and was telling me to get out of the house. And I was trying to reason with her and trying to calm her down, but she told me that if I didn't get out, that she was going to call the police. So I just got the keys and got my clothes and took her car and went to my wife's house and ended up having a wreck.
Well, how did you have the wreck?
I don't know, ma'am. I was just so upset that I couldn't even focus while I was driving. Just ended up having a wreck.
Well, you hit a tree.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me how you hit the tree.
I was driving in the middle of the lane, and I was about to get over into the right lane to get ready to get off at my exit. But this car was coming down in the hazard lane real fast. And I seen him then. He jumped over in front of me, so I was trying to avoid him and not hit the barricade that was on the side of the road. So in the midst of doing that, I ended up trying to swerve and get back into the lane and ended up spinning out and going down into the little trenches and hitting the tree.
Did you tell that to the police?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car were you driving?
I was driving a Jeep Compass.
What year?
2000 and I think it was 15.
Is that the year of your car?
And no, so 2012.
When did you purchase it?
October 2015.
How much did you pay for it?
$13,000.
So you have a loan on the car?
No.
You paid it off?
Yes.
Did you have insurance on the car?
Liability.
What kind of work do you do?
Customer service representative.
Where did you get the $13,000 from to pay cash for the car?
It was from a settlement. My aunt had passed away and left me and my sister some money.
When did your aunt pass away?
She passed away in June of 2015.
Tell me what happened with your boyfriend in the car.
That day, I went to the grocery store. I was only supposed to be gone for like 30 minutes because I said I was just going to grab something to eat, but I just went grocery shopping. When I came back, he was upset about how long I had been gone. So we got into an argument, and I basically just said, like, I don't have to explain to you how long I'm going to be gone in my own car because I had went grocery shopping. So I went to the kitchen to finish putting up the groceries in the middle of us arguing. I hear the front door, storm door close. And so when I go to the storm door and look out the door, he's already in the car driving off. And so I'm calling his phone. He's not answering the phone. I'm texting his phone. He's not answering the phone at all. When I hear from Andre again, it's because he said that he had an accident in my car and that he was waiting on the ambulance and the police to show up.
Well, there's no question that the two of you at that time were a couple and together, correct?
Right.
And he had used the car before.
No.
Oh, yes, he had.
No. No.
Yes, I have.
Oh,
She's
there's no question
lying now.
There's no question he had used
No,
the car
she really-
before.
Yeah, he's had never was able to drive the car. He can't drive the car. He's not supposed to drive because he has seizures. And by law, you're not supposed to drive for 6 months
He has
after
a
you have
driver's
one.
license.
But on the report, it'll show you he got a ticket for his driver's license being suspended. He was not supposed to be driving. I only had liability on my car. I never let him drive.
I guarantee you, madam,
She's lying.
that if you were together, he drove your car before.
Yep, I did.
It may not have had an accident before, but he drove your car before.
No, ma'am. I've been around him when he's had the seizures, and he wrecked a previous car because of having a seizure. I never let him drive my car.
So then why didn't you call the police instead of trying to get him by text? If he has seizures, why are you texting him when he's driving your car?
I was calling him trying to
You
get
told
him
me
to
you were
come
calling
back.
him and texting
Yes.
him. Why were you doing that if he was driving your car with seizures? Why didn't you call the police?
But I was trying to tell him and give an opportunity to bring my car back. I was telling him and texting him that was my next move, was to call the police
All right.
and to call him.
The truth is, I don't believe that.
I'm serious. I've never let him drive my car, and he knows he never drove my car. He doesn't have a reason to drive my car. He can't drive. He's not supposed to drive. He doesn't have a license, and he, like I said, he has seizures. He's not
you can
supposed
say
to
it
drive.
to me from today until tomorrow.
She's lying.
Oh, I know she is.
Yeah,
I know she is.
Yeah,
I know
always
that that's
drove.
true.
Yeah.
I know that that's true. I know that that's true. That doesn't mean that you're not responsible for some of this because the car was totaled. It was not drivable.
She made me drive it, though. She
No.
threatened to call the
she
police
didn't. No, she didn't make you drive.
Yeah, well,
Nobody
she-
makes you drive, sir.
Well, I didn't want to go to jail about calling the police from being in the house.
Just a second. You have two legs. Walk out of the house.
I was too far to walk. With my clothes and all that. I had to walk all the way home.
Don't talk to me about clothes. You take a walk around the block. You walk to the police station. You say, listen, we were living together. We're not living together anymore. I want to go back and get my things that are at the house, and they'll take you back. You don't drive a car if you have a suspended license.
Yeah.
Then you don't drive a car. And, you get a friend to pick you up. You do something else. So that doesn't mean that you have no responsibility for this accident. When was your license suspended?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Well, why don't you get it renewed?
I had it renewed, and then once I got them renewed, they got suspended again for child support.
Oh. When was it suspended again for child support?
I want to say 2011, 12, one of those. I really can't remember.
Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
Self-employed.
Self-employed what?
Construction worker.
So you do day stuff?
Yes, ma'am.
And you support yourself with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have your own apartment?
No.
Who do you live with?
I stay with my brother.
Since when?
And about the last 2 years. But I was staying with her, and I was just, when we get to arguments, man, I would go back to my brother's house.
Is that where you are now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How much money do you make on average a week?
Say about $8,000.
A week?
A week?
Just about.
$8,000 a week?
Mm-hmm.
Why was your license suspended for back child support?
I wasn't paying it.
Why?
I mean, they couldn't take it. At first, I was paying it once I had a job, and then...
Well, you make
take it out
$8,000 a week.
I have my daughter with me, so I don't... Why should I have... I don't feel like I should pay it.
Well, was she living with you when you were with her?
No.
She wasn't,
but she would come over. She would go with her mama. Her mama, she wanted to go stay with her mama. Her mama didn't really want her to
I want to see the
with
letter
me.
from your insurance company.
What? Which letter?
A letter indicating that you have no coverage and that the car is a total loss.
Okay. I have my insurance card and I have pictures of the car.
Did you submit this to your insurance company?
No, I called my insurance company to...
No. Your insurance company had to have given you a letter that indicated you were not covered for any of the damage. Is your car totaled?
Yes, it is totaled.
Well, then you get a letter from your insurance company.
Okay. I called my insurance company to cancel my insurance because they were taking it out of my account every month.
No,
So once
that's not what I asked you. When the car was totaled, no longer a car, you call your insurance company, you say, do I have any coverage for this? You know, this is an accident, here's the accident report. Insurance companies send you a letter that says you only have liability coverage on your car, therefore you are not covered for any of this. That's the letter I want to see.
Okay. Here's the proof of insurance, and here's also the insurance policy that states that I'm the only one that would be covered for any type of damages. Or
well, I know that it says that you're the only one to be covered because that's what you signed on for. That doesn't mean that I believe that you never let him drive the car. You understand that? You can yabba all you like. It doesn't matter. But you had a suspended driver's license, sir. You're not supposed to be behind the wheel of a car.
Yes, ma'am, I know.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to tell her, but she made me, she wasn't.
Nobody makes, how big are you? How tall are you?
Like 6'5", 6'4".
You're 6'5". How big is she?
She's small, maybe 5'2", 5'3".
Right. You know, if I said to you, I want you to put your hand on top of your head and twirl around like you're a little mannequin on top of the cake, would you do that?
No.
No, why?
Why?
I'm a judge.
What was the reason?
I'm a judge. I'm the same size she is. I can give you orders. I can give better orders than she can. You wouldn't do it because it's not smart.
Right.
It's also not smart to drive a car without a license. Because a suspended license is no license, because your license has been suspended, according to you, for 5 years.
I mean, well, she was telling me to get out. She was threatening to call the police, so what else could I do?
I just told you. I mean, do you have a short memory? I said use your legs.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
The person you want to marry is incarcerated.
Yes.
What is he incarcerated for?
Attempted murder.
And has he been tried yet?
No, he's going to trial now.
Don't you think it might be a good idea to wait until the trial was over?
Is suing ex-boyfriend Andre Smith Jr. for totaling her car.
Okay. Car was totaled?
Yes, ma'am. I have the pictures of the car as well.
You want to take a look, Bert, and just give me an idea of what a 2012 Jeep Compass costs. 2012 Jeep Compass. Did you buy another car?
No.
$13,350.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Because he was lying. I didn't tell him to take my car. He took it on his own.
She made me get out of the house. She let me drive her car.
I don't let him drive.
All parties in the matter of Farillo versus Waters, step forward.
Brooklyn Farillo is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert Waters, for breaking her laptop, assault, and false arrest.
This case has a couple of parts, Ms. Farillo. Mr. Waters was your boyfriend for a period of time. You claimed two things. You claimed that during an argument, he broke your computer, and that same night of the argument, police were called and he had you arrested for assault and you claimed that he was the one who actually physically got involved with you, and you were arrested on his false complaint, and we compensated for that. Now, Mr. Waters, I'm not exactly sure what his defense is with regard to the computer. After I read your answer, and you do in fact state that Ms. Ferrillo did assault you, did scratch you and claw at your face, which is why she was arrested. Okay, so let's start with what night this happened.
It was on the night of September 25th.
Were you living together at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you been living together?
5 years.
Had you ever separated before?
No.
Had either of you ever called the police as a result of any domestic violence complaint before?
No.
Is that all correct?
Correct.
Okay. So tell me what happened on September 25th.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How'd you get a black eye?
In the struggling match for the computer with her, she had my phone. We struggled over both items. My phone.
Did you have his phone?
I did have his phone.
Just a second, you left that out. What were you doing with his phone?
Says ex-boyfriend Robert Waters broke her laptop, assaulted her, and had her falsely arrested.
So tell me what happened on September 25th.
So on the night of September 25th, I got off work at 1 in the morning, and I met the defendant at a bar where he was already intoxicated.
Did he have a drinking problem?
He tends to drink and get angry.
Do you work, Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Consistently, consistent jobs. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I met him at the bar, and he was intoxicated, and he actually ended up getting into a fight with some random person at the bar. I'm not exactly sure why they got into a fight. He started fighting, and I immediately left and went home. And then when he got to the apartment, he was mad that I had left him there, and I was mad that he was getting in fights at bars. So we continued to argue, at which point I made a comment that he really didn't like about an ex-boyfriend of mine, and he told me he was going to smash my computer. So I ran into the bedroom, grabbed the computer, put it under some clothes, and he came in and he was looking for the computer, and I'm watching him, and I saw him look at the computer, and so I ran for it, and I grabbed it, and I put it behind me, and I sat in front of it, and that's when he began to attack me and tried to grab at my computer, and there was a struggle at that point, and he eventually got to my computer, picked it up, threw it on the ground, smashed it on the ground, picked it up again, threw it against the wall, which you can actually see the drywall still stuck on the computer, and then he punched it. And then at that point...
Computer. We're going to stop here.
I picked it up.
No. We're going to start at the bar where you were a little intoxicated.
I was drunk. I was drinking, yes.
And you got into a fight with somebody.
I stepped on some woman's shoes, and her boyfriend punched me in the nose twice. The fight went outside. He punched me 2 more times in the nose. Then he got in a truck and ran off.
Okay, so you were punched 4 times at the bar because you were drunk, because you stepped on somebody's shoes, and then you went home. And you're now home with a bloody nose.
No blood. Just got punched in the nose.
Did you have a black eye?
No.
The next day?
Yeah, I had a black eye next day.
So your eye was a little shut?
From the bar?
Mm-hmm.
No. My eye was fine after the bar. I was only hitting the nose at the bar.
How'd you get a black eye?
In the struggling match for the computer with her, she had my phone. I told her, give me my phone or I'll take your computer. We struggled over both items. My phone.
Did you have his phone?
I did have his phone.
Just a second, you left that out. What were you doing with his phone?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where did you hit him?
I believe it was in the face. I actually do have pictures of my injuries if you'd like to see them.
The police arrested you. I'd like to see the police report.
I have that.
Says ex-boyfriend Robert Waters broke her laptop, assaulted her, and had her falsely arrested.
What were you doing with his phone?
I grabbed his phone, and I was angry. We were arguing.
So you grabbed his phone, he grabbed your computer?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with his phone?
I ended up giving it back to him. That was before he smashed my computer.
Did she give you back your phone?
I got my phone from her.
No. Did you get your phone back?
I got my phone back.
In one piece?
Yes.
Now tell me what happened with her computer.
In the struggle for the computer, it got thrown to the ground. From there on out, I was intoxicated.
Good. So how much was your computer?
I actually have the receipt.
Great. How much was it?
$1,099.
What was the tax?
It says subtotal $1,099, subtax $60.50. Oh, so the total amount is $1,160.49.
So far, that's what you owe her for a computer. Now, who called the police?
I did.
Police arrived. What happened?
I told them about the computer, and I told them about the struggle, and that I had...
No, look over here. Now, you were looking down there. Now, police arrived, and you told them about the computer, and...
And the struggle, and that I had hit him in the struggle. And that is
Where did you hit him?
Where did I hit him?
Where did you hit him?
I believe it was in the face. A lot was going on at the time. It was a lot happening. I actually do have pictures of my injuries, if you'd like to see them.
The police arrested you. I'd like to see the police report.
I have that. In my case, for battery was actually dismissed. That's in there as well. It's all of that.
So, at the bar, he had gotten drunk. You had just had, according to you, a couple of drinks and a couple of shots of whiskey. That's what you told the police?
Yes.
Okay. I'm reading your statement to the police. And your statement to the police was that you punched him in the eye before he took your computer.
I believe I said that at the time.
Well, you did say it at the time. I mean, the police officer would not have arrested you had you not said that you punched him in the eye and gave him a black eye. That's not a false arrest.
I guess my main point is he attacked me.
No. He didn't attack you because that's the first thing you would have said to the police.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That you said to the police was he smashed my computer. If somebody attacked me, you gave them a whole litany about the whole story in a relatively cogent way, although you were probably still a little loopy. But nowhere at the beginning of your story did you ever say he attacked you. You said he went after my computer, and you said that you hit him and gave him a black eye before he took your computer. So, you owe her $1,099 for the computer. You're suing him for false arrest. You want double that amount. That you don't get because you did, in fact, assault him. And that's why the police arrested you. Goodbye. Thank you. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a
computer. If I was attacked first.
Being drunk and fighting all the time, it's annoying.
But I guess I have to just take it as it goes.
He does it way too often, so I was pretty much fed up with it.
I walked for 3 miles in the cold, drunk.
We just started arguing from there, and it just kind of blew up into this huge thing.
Words were shared that shouldn't have been.
They arrested me. They told me because I punched him, they were arresting me for battery.
I probably shouldn't have been drinking.
And luckily, it ended up getting dismissed.
I actually haven't drank since, so it's been a lesson learned.
Because I told them something that wasn't the truth.
Don't do either?
And I was trying to protect him from getting arrested.
Either drinking or relationships.
Definitely have more respect for myself and don't get really...
Artwork that was in the trunk of your car that you had brought in to be detailed.
Correct.
Who brought the car into the garage?
We both brought the car in. I drove it.
On what date?
On October 31st.
What time?
It was in the morning sometime, maybe around 11.
What day of the week was the 31st?
It was a Saturday.
Neither of you were working that day?
Correct.
Okay. When you brought the car in, who was driving?
I was driving.
Did you see Mr. Berthaim?
No, I did not.
Actually, I took the key from her. I took the key from her. I was at the register.
That may be true, Your Honor. I don't remember seeing him.
So then you have to say, I don't remember. You took the key from her?
Yes.
Do you remember what time that was, Mr. Berthaim?
About 10:30.
Would you describe the establishment that you own?
Well, this car wash been established for about 60 years now. I've been an owner since November 2009. We do mainly full service. We ran close to 40,000 cars through the car wash.
Do you have car washes that do it themselves as well as people to do it?
That's where our main business is. Detail is in addition to what we do, but we do a lot of cars through their full service, and we take maybe one car a day for detail.
Do you offer different price of servicing?
Yes.
You know, because there's always a menu. Everything is a menu these days. You have a menu for full, and then if you want wax, and then if you want hot wax, and then if you want your tires blown, and if you want your undercarriage cleaned. See, I've been... Are you impressed?
Yeah, I am.
Do you remember what kind of service you ordered?
One of his employees had a clipboard out when we were going over exactly what we wanted. I don't know if it had a name, like Mega Detail or anything like that, but he was checking off boxes, you know, this kind of wax, you want the leather done, that sort of thing.
Well, so I'm asking you.
Yes.
What did you tell them that you wanted done?
We wanted everything except the trunk.
Just a second. I know what your claim is. You were having everything done. It wasn't just going through the car wash and then having some people dry it at the end. You wanted inside done and outside.
Correct.
Leather seats,
floor, the carpet,
everything. You wanted a full detail.
Yeah, we call it interior super detail.
How much does that cost?
$90 plus tax.
90 plus tax.
Yes, it takes about
that's a
3 to 4 hour service, yes.
Okay, and that's what you paid?
I think I have a receipt for
plus tax.
$106.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now, this is, I assume, your artwork.
Correct.
When had you put that artwork in the car?
We loaded the piece.
Not we.
I'm sorry, I loaded the piece up.
Just a second. You loaded personally
Personally.
the piece in the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
On what date?
It was that same date.
No.
No, I'm sorry. It was the day before.
Oh, so you loaded it on Friday.
With the intention of taking it to be framed. We'd set up a meeting with the gentleman who does the framing. We got to his frame business, and he wasn't there when he said he was going to be there.
Saturday morning.
That was Friday,
That was Friday.
Your Honor. He's a small...
Just a second.
Okay.
Who drove there?
We both did.
I was
Who
driving
drove?
the car.
So you drove there Friday.
Correct.
Correct.
He wasn't there on Friday.
Correct, Your Honor.
Good. Okay, so the day before on Friday, you had an appointment with the picture framer, put the picture in the car.
Correct.
Now, was it rolled up in something, or was it the way I see it now?
It was rolled up like this, snugly tucked in there, in the trunk.
But not in a tube.
Not in a tube, but...
Just a second.
Okay.
Do you have a tube? Just curious.
For bringing it on the airplane, I bought one, but...
Okay, so you have one.
Now I do, yes.
And you took it to the framer Friday, and the framer wasn't there.
Correct. It's an independent...
I'm talking to him. I'm not talking to you. The framer wasn't there. What time was your appointment with the framer?
I want to say it was 4 o'clock, give or take a few minutes, and we got...
Okay, now Friday is a work day. Did you work on Friday?
This is my work. I'm a professional artist.
So you took it to the framer on Friday?
Yes, ma'am.
At 4 o'clock. Not your wife?
She was in the car with me, but I was driving.
Well, just a second. So what do you do?
I'm a lawyer.
On Friday at 4 o'clock, you weren't working?
I wasn't, no. I had finished court early for that day, and we decided to do this and get some dinner afterwards.
Fine. So you went, took care of the framer, who wasn't there, and then the two of you went out for dinner?
Correct, Your Honor.
Good. Now, did you contact the framer the next day?
I stood outside the establishment and said, we're here. We are looking for you. Where are you?
I'm not talking about Friday. I'm talking about Saturday.
Oh, okay.
You got to pay attention. Saturday morning, did you contact the framer?
No.
When you contacted the framer on Friday, how did you reach the framer?
I had to leave a voicemail message.
And he returned your call?
He did not.
No.
Did not? Well, no. How did you reach the framer to set up an appointment for Friday?
That had been done previously.
She had arranged my wife had arranged the meeting with the framer, and she had taken care of it.
By phone?
By phone.
When?
Maybe the day before, maybe 2 days before. It was earlier that week.
Okay, so you had his phone number.
Correct.
And he wasn't there on Friday when he was supposed to be, so you went out for dinner.
Correct.
And left the painting in the car. My next question is, did you call the framer in the morning?
I don't recall that I did.
Well, what? Okay, so you didn't call the framer in the morning, and then at 11 o'clock you went to drop the car off at his place to be detailed.
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you picked your wife up in the Jeep because the car was going to be all day at the...
At the detail, yes. So we
All
could go
day.
get some lunch. It was four or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours.
Something like, yes, 3 to 5 hours.
And it didn't dawn on either one of you to take the painting out of the trunk of the car, maybe to find another framer, maybe to call the framer, or did you forget that it was in the car?
Oh, no, we knew it was there, absolutely.
Well, then, Mrs. Vanderdy, why would you leave what purports to be a painting worth $3,600 in the trunk of a car when you have another car that's not going to be left in the hands of strangers?
Yes.
Your Honor, respectfully, I've moved art so many times I can't even keep count. My work, other people's work. I'm a professional artist that is shown in galleries, museums.
This is not an advertisement.
Okay, but...
That's a very simple question. Why would you not, if you're taking a car that's going to be left in the hands of dozens of people who are going to have something to do with the car? For instance, if I were a jewelry maker and I had a necklace worth $3,600 and I transported jewelry all the time, I was taking my car to be detailed and my husband was picking me up in his car, I would take the necklace out of the car and put it in the car that he was using to pick me up, because otherwise I would be stupid to leave a piece of valuable stuff in the trunk of a car that's going to be taken care of by strangers. And you say this is worth thousands of dollars, so I don't understand why you didn't put it in the Jeep.
Two reasons. One, the more often I handle the piece, the more likely it is to be damaged. It was not going anywhere. I had secured it in such a fashion that unless it was tampered with by someone aside from myself, it was going to be absolutely fine. Second...
Evidently not.
Well,
so you made a mistake.
Well,
just a sec. So you made a mistake.
Had they stayed out of the trunk as we requested, it would not have been a mistake.
It was not. Just a second. Just a second. You're not following me. I mean, you understand that this is going nowhere for you. I'm telling you, it's going nowhere because it doesn't sound logical to me. It doesn't sound logical to me that if you said to somebody who was standing there with the clipboard, I want everything else detailed in the car, but I don't want you to go in the trunk, or don't detail the trunk, or don't go in there and clean the trunk. And you think that as a result of that, because they went into the trunk to put what they had found in the car, in your trunk, that they're responsible for $3,600 for your painting?
We do think that.
Yeah, yes, ma'am, I do think that.
Well, you're wrong.
May I ask a question?
You may not ask me a question.
Okay.
You may not ask me a question. I just find the whole thing ridiculous. I don't see how two intelligent people would leave a piece of art that you say I securely, snugly, not rolled up in anything. He has a whole different story, by the way. You have to understand his whole different story in his answer that he's going to tell me. You don't know what happened to your car. All you know is when you got the painting back, it was damaged. Correct? I'm not talking to your wife, I'm talking to you.
Correct.
When you saw the painting, it was damaged.
Correct.
So you don't know how it happened, right?
Technically, I mean, I know she did not do it, but...
You don't know that at all.
I trust what she says.
Listen, you may, but I'm not married to her.
I get it. She's also helped me move countless pieces of work.
I don't care. You say you trust her, but you weren't there to see what happened to the painting. And according to your wife, neither was she, correct?
Correct.
Good. Now, so neither of you were there.
When it was damaged.
When it was damaged. That's according to you. Not according to him.
Okay, that morning, it was a busy morning. When she arrived, she came in, she gave me the key, and I told her, did you remove all the belongings out of the car? She said, yes, everything is out. So
she spoke to you?
Yes.
Gave you the key?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually you pull the car to the back. If it's a detailer, you come inside. The guys will tell you what all we're going to do with the pricing. And
you didn't tell her what the pricing was. That was somebody else.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Then she came in, she gave me the key, and she was getting the interior super clean. With that package, what comes is with carpet shampoos, clean the seats, the leather seats, the whole inside the cabin, including washing the car and clean all the door jams, the trunk jam, the whole works on the car. So we did the work. While we're cleaning the car, there was a lot of items in the car we found.
Like what?
The main one was a credit card. There was a lot of personal items, jewelry.
Credit card. Do you remember what kind of credit card it was?
No. Don't remember.
Credit card.
There was one credit card.
What kind of credit card was it?
I'm not sure. One that I had lost, and it must have fallen out of my pocket, and I had canceled
so a lost credit card that she acknowledges was there.
Yes, and there was phone chargers.
4 chargers.
Yes, also there was some...
I think he said phone charger. I'm sorry, not 4.
Phone charger. And also there was some forks. There were maybe about 6 or 7 forks. And there was additional miscellaneous items.
So, I mean, you're talking about plastic forks or metal forks?
Silver forks, yes.
Did you say 4 chargers or a phone charger?
Phone charger.
Phone charger.
Yes.
Okay.
And all we did was we put it in a small grocery bag and put it inside the trunk, and we closed it. The car was nicely done. We parked it in the front.
Just a second. My question to you is, because I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked her, did you see that, or was that what you were told?
No, I was there.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
As she was closing the trunk, she was having a hard time to latch it. Then he showed her what was catching the latch, that she couldn't close it because the painting was getting caught. And she said, oh my God, that's my husband's painting.
Spencer and Alex Vanderzee say car wash owner Simon Burhane is responsible for damaged artwork left in the trunk of their car.
So you were there when it was put in the trunk. Who put it in the trunk?
The detailer. Then every time, as the owner and the manager, I inspect, especially on the details. Right when they tell me it's done, I walk over there, look at what they did. If it looks to our standard, if they miss anything.
Did you see... My question to you is, I'm going to ask you one more time. Did you see them put the grocery bag with the charger and the credit card in the trunk?
I seen him put the bag. I did not see exactly what all it was in the bag, but it was a
saw
small
the bag,
Yes.
but not what was in it.
Yes, it was.
Okay, then tell me what happened.
So we called her, told her it's ready. She told me that she'll be coming later on in the afternoon, which she got there about 4-ish. Then when they came in, we told her, if you want to inspect the car, then I'll ring you out. She went out, looked at the car.
Where was her husband?
In his car.
He didn't get out?
He never got out. First time or the second time.
Okay.
So she inspected the car. She liked it. She came back. Yeah, it looks great. She paid the $96.30 for the car wash plus $10 tips for the guy who did the work. And we told her all the belongings, the additional stuff we found, including the credit card, is in the trunk. She said thank you. She went to her car and she got in. Then she noticed the charger was not there. So she came back and she said, where's my charger? We told her it's in the trunk in the back. So she said, oh, okay, fine. So she went to the trunk, got the charger out. As she was closing the trunk, she was having a hard time to latch it. That's when I sent one of my guys, my manager, to go see why she's having a hard time to close the trunk.
What's your manager's name?
George.
Did you go outside with George, or did you stay
No,
inside?
I had customer. I was the cashier.
So you don't know what happened outside?
I was standing. I can show you the picture where I was standing and where the car was.
Okay.
If I turned strictly, I can see her where she was standing.
Okay.
So he went out to see. I thought she was having a hard time because the trunk latch was something wrong with it or whatever. Then he showed her what was catching the latch, that she couldn't close it because the painting was getting caught. And that's what happened. He showed her. Then she said, oh my God, that's my husband's painting. That she was upset when she left. Didn't say nothing to me. She called the next day and we apologized it happened, but that painting should not be in the car.
I agree with you.
And we said, but to just keep you a happy customer, go ahead, bring the Jeep and we'll do it on the house.
Okay.
That was the end of the conversation
Just a
we had.
second. And that never happened?
It never happened.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's lying, Your Honor.
Well,
That's
I don't know
not,
whether he's
That's
lying.
not true.
I don't know whether he's lying.
Why would I keep closing a trunk on a piece of art that I know is his?
Were you asked to take everything out of the car?
No, Your Honor.
No, just
They
a
said
second. Oh, no, no, no. I don't believe that.
Claims car wash owner Simon Burhane is responsible for damaging his artwork.
Now, did you speak to her personally the next day?
No, George did.
Okay, so you don't know that.
No, he spoke to Spencer, actually. He didn't speak to her.
Okay, so did you speak to someone the next day?
I did.
And I called that. I'm sorry.
Did you speak to someone the next day?
I did.
Okay, and that was someone by the name of George.
And he acknowledged the damage happened on their property.
Well, of course it happened on their property.
But what he's saying is a complete fabrication.
I don't... It might be.
It absolutely is.
It is.
Firstly, I was not there. Or I'm right. I mean, I was there when we dropped the cars off. We both stood next to the Cadillac as the gentleman, the associate, was standing there with a clipboard saying, do you want me to do this, that? And we said, don't go in the trunk.
Don't do the
Do
trunk.
not go in the trunk. And he wrote something down. I didn't see the clipboard, but he said, okay, and wrote something down.
You should subpoena it.
Well,
You should subpoena it. Don't you find it ridiculous that you left that thing in the trunk?
No,
Not at all,
no,
Your
I've done
Honor.
this.
No.
I've moved pieces without any damage occurring.
I mean, keep
because
moving it
Just a
into
second. Is
another-
what you're telling me, Mr. Vanderzee, that you have left pieces of art in the trunk and taken the car to be detailed before without incident? Just a second. Follow my question.
Sure.
Is what you're telling me that you've taken a painting of yours, put it in the car, taken the car to be detailed, and a painting was never damaged? Is that what you're telling me?
I've never the car detailed with
Well,
the
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you going to the theater and giving somebody the keys to the car to park the car and somebody going into your trunk.
I understand.
I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about taking a car to be detailed inside and out and leaving the painting in the car.
Your Honor, but if they asked...
For days.
Overnight.
Overnight. It had been 2 days at that point.
He says that that didn't happen.
He's lying, Your Honor.
Well,
That's
I don't
not,
know whether he's
That's
lying
not
or
true.
I don't know
She did
whether
not.
he's
Why
lying
would
or
I
not.
keep closing a trunk on a piece of art that I know is his and over and over
I
again?
don't care whether you did or whether you didn't. I don't think somebody purposely destroyed your painting because your husband says that he snugly fit it in the back of the car, which means that somebody had to purposely go in there and rip it out.
It happened when they threw
the bag on
of
it
stuff
and it
on
popped
it.
open.
Just a second. He says in the bag was a phone charger and a credit card.
And
forks.
I also think there was a pair of gym shoes.
A pair of what?
Gym shoes?
Were you asked to take everything out of the car?
No, Your Honor.
No, just
They
a
said
second. Oh, no, no, no. I don't believe that. I don't believe that, madam.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I think that they probably said to you, if you're going to detail the car inside out, please remove anything from the car.
And then, Your Honor, they also said if we find anything,
He
we'll put it in
asked
a
you,
bag.
just a second, he asked you to remove everything from the car. And you clearly didn't remove the credit card or the gym
Well, that
shoes.
was under the seat.
According
I
to
didn't
you.
see it. And I
According
think the
to
shoes were under the seat,
okay.
too.
I don't think you have a case against him.
When we say, Your Honor, when we say stay out of the trunk, and they acknowledge it by writing
Show
something
me.
down.
Just a minute, show me.
They kept
gotten rid
You're
of
a
that.
lawyer.
He's standing here
You're
lying
a
to you.
lawyer. You can subpoena their records. They keep a copy.
They never
I'm sure he
said
didn't.
stay out of the trunk.
I'm sure
an
he
absolute lie.
didn't.
Never
I'm
said.
sure he didn't bring it, but you know how to get it. He says it was never done.
That's a lie.
It's just not true.
Well, I don't know. You have no case. Next time, if you want something that's valuable to be preserved, don't leave it in a vehicle where dozens of people are going to have access to it.
I thought
dozens.
Why
not
ask
one.
the question, though?
Why
You want
even
us
ask
to go
the
in the trunk or not? Why ask the
We're
question?
done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Straight up.
I did not. Absolutely. Why in the world would I
She was trying to cover up her fault
purposely cause damage to my husband's art
because her husband not to be upset.
and then lie about it and say someone else did it? No, of course I didn't do it.
And she is the one who was trying to latch that trunk.
They shut the trunk latch on the piece, and it damaged it.
Anything left in the car or damage while we are handling the detail, not responsible.
Now I can't sell this piece, so they're taking food out.
All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2060, Baron versus Arteaga.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Barone, case is not a very difficult one. You met Mr. Arteaga.
Arteaga.
Take your hands out of your pockets. At a bar?
Yes.
When?
Back in June of 2021.
Did you ever live together?
No.
You always maintained your own residence and he his.
Yes, the apartment I owned was always underneath my name.
But he never lived there?
No.
Good.
May of 2021.
Was it a new car?
Yes.
Give me a rough number. How much was it?
Out the door, 72,000.
And what color did you order?
Black.
This is what you wanted the car wrapped. Now, I think most people know what that means, and I think I know what that means. That means you take a perfectly good car and you put a different finish on it. Is that what it means?
Yes.
You buy a car that has a nice shiny finish and looks clean, and then you put something on it that, I don't know, looks like it's been sitting out under a volcano.
I guess you could say that.
What?
I guess you could say that.
I just...
950.
How much?
3,950.
And you had some of that money, but you gave him, transferred to him, $1,800 on your credit card.
Yeah, so it was an agreement made between...
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't on a credit card.
Yes.
And according to you, your arrangement was that he would pay you back monthly $100.
Correct.
You don't dispute that.
She offered.
Yeah, she offered. And you did, in fact, on 3 separate months, pay her back $100.
Yes.
And that means that in your view, it was a loan.
Well, it was more of a gift.
Well, then why would you pay her back $100 a month, Mr. Arteaga?
Because our finances are much different.
You're not answering my question. You're doing a dance around my question. If it was a gift to you, this $1,800 towards the wrap for your car, why did you pay her back $300?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. What kind of work do you do?
I'm an electrical superintendent.
Expensive car.
Indeed it is.
You're a single guy?
Yes.
That's what single guys do with their money. Tell me why you stopped paying her back, Mr. Arteaga.
Things got sour very quick.
So things got sour with the relationship?
Yes.
Okay. And is that when you stopped paying her?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500 is what he owes you for the balance of the loan. Thank you. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
We broke up. It was a nasty break. I'm just not going to loan out money to just anyone from here on out.
I'm glad it's over.
And I'm really happy I get my $1,500 back.
You will never see it again. It gets messy, it gets entangled, and we see it time and time again. So it's just hits even harder at home.
Have you noticed, Sarah, that it's probably 80-20 that women give money to boyfriends?
At least what we've seen here, yes.
You know, and if this is a microcosm of the world, and I don't know what that is, I haven't been able to figure it out. I've been doing this kind of business for 30 years, $100. Well, if you're short $1,800, buy a cheaper car.
Yeah.
You know, there are cars that cost less than $72,000. Anyway.
But women should be smarter and not agree to do that.
They ought to make mandatory watching these cases.
Precious Stewart is suing hairstylist Karani Thomas for damages from a wig installation.
Ms. Stewart, you're complaining that the defendant who tried to restyle or reinstall a wig that you had recently purchased did a terrible job. And in addition to doing a terrible job, she tried to fix it, and then she didn't return it to you.
Exactly.
So you want the cost of the wig.
And the install.
And what?
And the install.
And the $200 that
yes,
you
ma'am.
charge you for the installation of the wig. Is that what they call it, installation?
Yes, ma'am.
Usually refer to furniture as an installation. I never knew that they referred to a wig as installation. Okay, you purchased this wig when?
I purchased the wig on February 12th.
Of what year?
2022.
Can I see the receipt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you paid $697 for it?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you bought wigs from this particular install the wig that you purchased?
The first time that I installed it was March 3rd.
What did you do with it between the 12th and the 3rd?
You said between the 12th?
12th of February and March 3rd.
Well, she had it.
Who had it?
The lady.
The other lady?
Yes.
What did she do with it?
She just held it in because she installed it for me the first time.
Not understanding me. You purchased it on February 12th?
Yes.
Did you use it or did you not use it between February 12th and March? Didn't use it. So the first time it was installed was March 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have other wigs?
Yes, ma'am.
That you use regularly? The first time it was installed, according to you, it didn't look right. And you thereafter contacted the defendant. Had you ever used her services before?
No. Each other over social media, so I was, watching her do hair and post her videos and stuff, so that's how
So you contacted her on what date to do a reinstall?
I believe it was...
It was
like
March.
No, it wasn't.
In the month of March?
Yes.
The same month that you had it initially installed?
It was the end of March.
But the same month?
Yes.
And you went to her home? Is that where she operates?
Yes,
I gather that you were in her home.
At the time, yes. She used to work inside a studio.
What I read in your complaint was when you left, you noticed that the installation had left certain, according to you, bald spots in the netting.
Yes, ma'am.
And you contacted the defendant?
Right away.
Do you remember that call, Ms. Thomas? You had a dissatisfied customer who wanted her money back.
Right.
What did you do with the wig? Because you now had the wig.
Right. I reconstructed the wig. So after
what did you do with it?
Precious Stewart claims hairstylist Karani Thomas did not properly install her wig and never returned it.
Okay. Do you remember that call, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, I do.
Tell me what she said to you when she called.
She said that specifically there were spots or gaps that she needed to be fixed. So I told her that she can come back the next day and we would fix whatever spots because she didn't send me a picture. So I just told her, go ahead, come back the next day.
But she did, in fact, pay you the $200 for installing the wig.
Her coming back the next day wasn't an extra charge.
Did she come back the next day?
No.
Do you know why?
She did not come back at the time that she was supposed to because she said that her carpets were getting clean and she forgot. I also.
Thank you. Okay, so it looks as if the day that you had set to go there, you kept stalling it because you had workmen in your house.
Yeah,
is that right?
I have a
Yeah, that's a yes.
I had a maintenance man.
Yeah, that's yes. You had workmen in the house. She said, come. You had workmen in the house. And then you asked to come when her baby was sleeping. And she said, don't come when my baby is sleeping because the dogs will bark and wake up the baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's the only page that I have here.
Yes, Your Honor.
So when did she come back?
Afterward, that same night, I have another paper. She didn't come back, and then she sent me this text message letting me know that she got in contact with another hairstylist that's apparently a friend of hers, saying that...
No, I can read.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what you say in this text is that you showed the wig to somebody else.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they told you that it couldn't be fixed because too much was plucked. And then you say, I hate this because you're a very sweet person, very talented. I'm not sure how we got here. I'm going to proceed with removing the wig from my head. I'll bring it to you so you can see if there's any saving possible. Thank you and sorry for the inconvenience. When did you do that?
The same day.
Okay, so you brought it to her.
No, I didn't bring it to her. I told her that the same day that I was.
No, when did you bring it to her?
I brought it to her the next day.
Okay, so that was still the end of March, or was that the beginning of April?
I believe it was still the end of March.
It was March 26th.
So you brought it to her, and what happened?
I brought it to her. She said that she would try to fix it. She then proceeded trying to fix it. She sent me photos of what she tried to do, which wasn't really much of anything because it still looked bald, as well as what it looked like the next morning. Looked like it was disintegrating off my head. That's a proper install the next morning. A few hours.
Just looking.
Doesn't do that.
Okay. Okay. I see them. Would you show these to the defendant, please?
She's seen them.
Yes, I have them.
You have them?
She sent that to my phone.
Okay, great. I'll take them back now. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome, Judge.
Okay. So you had a dissatisfied customer who wanted her money back.
Right.
What did you do with the wig? Because you now had the wig.
Right. I reconstructed the wig. So after we
What did you do with it?
She told me she sold it. Sorry.
I didn't ask you anything.
Sorry.
What did you do with the wig?
It had been over 2 months since we had in contact with each other. I just got rid of it.
How did you get rid of it?
I threw it away.
Why?
Because I had spent money that went to waste and I replaced it. I couldn't do anything with it.
What do you mean replaced it?
I replaced the frontal that she said I made bald. So I spent my own money because I wouldn't do another install on her head.
May I see those? I assume those text messages go into April and May.
Yes.
Okay. And so we're not that far away. And I would assume that the wig doesn't take up that much room in your house.
Well, she didn't come back until June.
It doesn't matter.
With the police.
What does that matter?
She said that she didn't want it anymore.
Good morning, Boo. I'll be home tomorrow. Okay, I'll get back to you, take pictures of well. Okay. Well, in any event, you had no right to either give it away, sell it, throw it away until this matter was resolved. So you owe her first the $600.
Her saying that she didn't want it anymore?
I never said I didn't want it, though.
But you did. I have proof of that.
You said I did. I said I didn't want it.
Are you talking to each other? If you talk to each other, then I dismiss your case. Do you understand?
Sorry.
Bottom line. So if you have proof that she said to you, you can discard the wig, then I'll say, I don't want that wig anymore. You owe me for the wig because you ruined it. That's a different story than I don't want it anymore.
Okay. Can I?
Do you understand?
Can I find that?
Absolutely.
I don't know if what I'm trying to find is in the papers that you have or here. So I'm sorry if I'm taking long. I'm reading.
I don't see anything in the papers that I have here that says you can get rid of it.
Okay, I do. I have it. Well, it doesn't say get rid of it, but it does say you can keep the wig and give me my $700 then.
Oh, yeah. I can understand that. So did you give her money? You kept it?
No.
You kept it?
I did not.
Did you give her money?
No, I did not.
Well, then you owe her $6.
Court is adjourned.
I think she made the right decision.
I feel like the judge made the wrong decision.
I was trying to let things die down, maybe a civil person.
We both came to an agreement that I would reconstruct the unit.
It would have been like, hey, it doesn't belong to me, let me just give it back.
The problem was that she wouldn't come back and pick it up because I wouldn't install her hair again.
Just give me my wig back. And she told me no.
I felt I didn't owe her any money.
I don't got the wig, but I'm getting my money back.
Simple, easy. You can't throw away somebody's property.
Yep.
The only thing that I was amazed at in the complaint, Sarah, is that she sat there for 5.5 hours while she had this wig installed.
Yeah, beauty is pain.
I cannot imagine sitting someplace 5.5 hours without leaving with a baby.
Có dỗi giật bộ quần áo giật tay để bắt cầu thang nhé. Nếu mà không dỗi thôi mà có 2 cái áo, một cái quần. Qua.
Tại vì sẽ tôi mời bạn cua. Cô cả 2 cái cà siêu bự. Bây giờ cùng mình tô quả bóng và chiếc phao ha. Thì tô quả bóng này. Bức tranh của mình đã được tô màu xong rồi. Cảm ơn các bạn đã cùng mình theo dõi video này. Video của mình đến đây là hết rồi nha. Tạm biệt mọi người.